Hello and welcome to Recyclist. It's December 6th, 2024. I'm your host, Eric Provost, and this is your weekly roundup of all the biggest news stories in the world of waste, gas, and energy presented by Diamond Scientific. First things first, and as always, let's take a quick look at the stock market and 5 stocks on the move this week within the world of waste, gas, and energy. Going into the final month of 2024, Forum Energy Technologies is now sitting at $14.39 per share. Evergy Incorporated has reached $63.15 per share. Clean Energy Fuels Corp is now sitting at $2.74 per share. Republic Services Incorporated is now up to $217.09 per share. And Ranger Energy Services is currently sitting at $15.85 per share. But moving into the news, first up, the United States Environmental Protection Agency recently issued a proposed rule to partially waive the compliance year 2024 renewable volume obligation for cellulosic biofuel under the Renewable Fuel Standard, otherwise known as the RFS. The rulemaking also proposes to extend the RFS compliance reporting deadline for 2024 and revises certain biogas provisions included in the document's regulations. The American Fuel and Petrochemical Manufacturers Trade Association recently petitioned the EPA seeking such a waiver. The agency on November 12th delivered a proposed rulemaking regarding the partial waiver to the White House Office of Management and Budget. That proposed rule has now been released for public comment. And up next, speaking of government regulations, the Coalition for Renewable Natural Gas has welcomed the U.S. Department of Treasury's issuance of the final rulemaking on the Section 48 investment tax credit, expanded under the Inflation Reduction Act. According to the organization, the updated regulations represent a significant step forward for the biogas and renewable natural gas industries in North America, ensuring wider project eligibility for these critical tax credits. Jeffrey Dietz, the Director of Federal Affairs for the Renewable Natural Gas Coalition, even said, quote, "The final rulemaking reflects the intent of Congress to broadly incentivize the beneficial use of biogas, including as RNG, further to the Inflation Reduction Act's goals of accelerating decarbonization and clean energy deployment," end quote. And up next, LOSI Controls recently announced results from its portfolio of 10 environmental attribute projects. Across the portfolio, LOSI's report claims they have effectively reduced emissions by over 436,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent each year, the same as removing more than 100,000 gasoline-powered passenger vehicles every year from the road. Over the past 3 years, the company's environmental attribute project portfolio has averaged a 17% increase in methane capture. Peter Quigley, the CEO and chairman of LOSI, said, quote, "We're proud to share these results, which demonstrate how LOSI not only reduces harmful methane emissions from landfills, but also creates a new way for landfills to generate revenue. LOSI aligns environmental sustainability with operator success in a way that can make a real impact across the U.S." End quote. And next, the U.S. Department of Energy's Advanced Research Projects Agency for Energy recently announced $36 million going to a new program to help recover critical metals and high energy value materials like ammonia from wastewater. The agency's program, Realize Energy-Rich Compound Opportunities Valorizing Extraction from Refuse Waters, or RECOVER for short, aims to enable the U.S. to fully replace imports of valuable materials with domestic sources just by tapping into resources commonly found in municipal, agricultural, and industrial waste streams. Agency Director Evelyn Wang said, quote, "Recover is an ambitious program focused on retrieving high-value materials from wastewater, a largely untapped resource. Recover technologies will transform waste streams into critical material sources that commoditize the vast volumes of wastewater flowing through our systems and strengthen our energy security." End quote. And just a reminder, Recyclist is a registered trademark of Diamond Scientific, an industry leader in gas analysis, instrumentation, and solutions. Make sure to visit them online at diamondsci.com. That's diamondsci.com. Or you can even set up a personalized presentation just by calling 321-223-7500. Now on with the news. Going back to wastewater for just a moment, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, recently announced the department's Economic Development Administration is awarding $3.3 million in grants to the city of Rice Lake, Minnesota, for water and wastewater infrastructure improvements to boost industrial development and job growth in the region. The grant will help establish a new Minnesota Power Service Center in an area recently impacted by both industrial closures and severe storms. This investment will be matched with $3.3 million in local funds and is expected to create 150 jobs, retain 60 jobs, and generate $150 million in private investments, according to grantee estimates. Raimondo said in a statement, quote, "The Biden-Harris administration's Investing in America agenda is providing critical infrastructure upgrades in Minnesota and across the country to ensure that all communities can support business growth, spur private investments, and create high-quality, good-paying jobs. This investment will help bring new jobs to the Rice Lake area and grow economic opportunity in the region." End quote. And up next, one company is already taking advantage of those investment tax credits we spoke of earlier. Evensol LLC, a renewable energy project developer focusing on biogas and methane mitigation, recently announced that it closed an investment tax credit or ITC transfer deal to the tune of $34.5 million, with the tax credits in question coming from the company's two North Carolina renewable natural gas projects. Notably, the projects were able to qualify for that Section 48 rule that we spoke of earlier, which actually added a 10% ITC adder to the transaction. David Wentworth, president and CEO of Evensol, said, quote, "Evensol is proud to be among the first renewable natural gas project developers to close an ITC transfer deal. The inclusion of the 10% domestic content adder provided significant additional value to our investors and the ITC buyer. We are also delighted to be one of the industry pioneers in proving our commitment to supporting and sourcing products made in the USA." End quote. And up next, Vision RNG just signed a new deal that will help ensure its own resource stability for a very long time. The company just signed a gas rights agreement to purchase raw landfill gas from the Greenwood County, South Carolina landfill for up to 25 years. Vision RNG personnel will work with county and landfill personnel over the next 12 months to optimize the existing gas collection and control systems to determine the amount of gas available. This will also help to decide the type of project to be supported by the landfill. Chuck Motes, the Greenwood County Council chairman, said, quote, "Greenwood County is proud to partner with Vision RNG on this long-term agreement. By capturing methane from our landfill and converting it into renewable energy, we are taking meaningful action that makes sense both environmentally and economically. We look forward to seeing the positive effects of this project for many years to come." End quote. And lastly, speaking of new deals, Clean Energy Fuels Corp recently announced an entire series of them as the company continues to meet the growing customer demand for renewable natural gas, with new fueling contracts, construction of additional fueling infrastructure, and operations and maintenance contracts. Names found on Clean Energy's new deals include DHL, LA Metro, Southon Logistics, Estes Express Lanes, Harris Ranch, Nationwide Environmental Services, and many more. Chad Lindholm, the senior vice president at Clean Energy, said, quote, "The last quarter has been one of our best periods for RNG sales, with deals closing across the board in the heavy-duty truck, transit, and refuse markets. There is no better proof that RNG is now a recognized, effective alternative fuel solution that works and continues to satisfy the needs of our longer-term customers, as well as gain attention from new customers looking for a clean alternative to cater to their fueling needs." End quote. And that will do it for your December 6, 2024 News Roundup, brought to you by Recyclist, a trademark of Diamond Scientific. I've been your host, Eric Provost, and we will see you back here next week for another brand new episode of Recyclist. Thank you.